Alright, so today's vlog is about guild names and how guild names are actually like a mini marketing tool. Yeah, so if you've ever ran a guild before, it's kind of hard not to see that it's kind of like a real world company. And yeah, I just realized that recently, especially with a very recent mishap in real life. And while I'm being beat on here by these giant dragons, and I didn't die a horrible death. Um, Let me tell you a bit of a story of my current guild name right now in PSO2. So, we actually started off in another game called Black Desert Online, and this is actually a group of friends that we've known each other for quite a while now, from other games and as well as real life friends, etc., etc. So there was just about 7 of us, and there's just about 7 of us, and as a joke, we all decided to come up with the name Weeaboo Hunters. So for those of you who don't know what the term weeaboo means, uh, it is just a derogatory term stating where someone has a very unhealthy obsession with Japan and Japanese culture. So don't get me wrong here. All of us love anime, all of us love Japanese culture, but we don't really like to the point where we think that our own home culture is bad. So, for example, I'm Canadian, and I don't feel very ashamed for being Canadian. So that's the difference between a a person like myself, like my friends and I, and weeaboos. So so how does this relate to a game like Black Desert Online? So when we started playing Black Desert Online, there is a guild called Laughing Coffin. In Laughing Coffin is actually from an anime, a Japanese animation called Sword Art Online. It is very popular at the time. I guess that was like around 2015 or so. Yeah, like 2015 or so. And and yeah, so some of the most popular guilds at the time were mostly based around like animes such as Naruto and Sword Art Online. And unfortunately, one of the biggest when we started out in Black Desert Online, it just turns out that the biggest PvP guild at the time was called Laughing Coffin, which was a very, which was actually a funny part because Sword Art Online is actually based on MMO culture, so multiplayer online culture. And Laughing Coffin is a PvP guild, hence why the guild actually this hence why the guild decided to become a PvP guild called Laughing Coffin, and it just turns out to be like that. So, well, and unfortunately, as part of the joke, we've decided to call ourselves Weeaboo Hunters just to make fun of people like that. And we actually got a bit of notoriety on Reddit at the time because when we finally got to the point where we were gonna fight this guild, you, we declared on Laughing Coffin, and it showed up right on the main screen. It was announced to the entire server that we are gonna fight Laughing Coffin. There were screenshots, and it was pretty funny, and everyone loved it. Problem was that even though it did get us a bit of notoriety at the time, no one wanted to join our guild. It's mostly because people thought our guild name was very weird, and mostly because a lot of people who play MMOs like Black Desert Online tend to be anime-loving people like we do, and it is just frankly insulting. So, so that's our first mistake there. We didn't know our audience. Well, actually, that's not really the first mistake. Our first mistake was, well, we didn't know what our clear goal was. We knew that we wanted to do PvP, but at the same time, we weren't sure if we wanted to expand our little group, our little circle of friends even more. So it was just the seven of us, and even though eventually like our group of friends just decided to dwindle on more and more as time came, we just didn't have a clear plan or idea of what we were gonna end up doing with our little group of friends. So it would the name Weeaboo Hunters would actually be fine if we didn't decide we want to get more people to come PvP with us, because frankly in a game like Black Desert Online where there's open world PvP, we need the numbers to actually fight people. And because the guilds like Laugh and Coffin are always constantly recruiting, we needed to also grow our numbers too. So we didn't. So that was the first mistake. We didn't know what the hell we wanted to do with our group. Second mistake was obviously we didn't know our audience. So which led into the third problem was people did not. eh, Well, which led to a third problem where, oh crap, people don't like our name. Therefore, when we tried to recruit people, we often got private messages saying your name is really weird, and our recruiting officer at the time, he was pretty bummed out about it. He didn't like the fact that people thought, even though the name was pretty funny, people thought our name was kind of gut wrenching and repulsive, so no one joined. So 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 the name so our so eventually our group just ended up disbanding, and well, we ended up merging with another guild and stuff happened basically. So, which led into PSO2, Fantasy Star, short for Fantasy Star Online. We decided to get the group together again, and unfortunately, our guild leader decided to keep the name Weeaboo Hunters. One of our members really wanted to recruit this many people. I think it was like 13 plus people to our little group of friends yet again, so we can get some cool cosmetics. Unfortunately, with the name Weeaboo Hunters, we literally flooded the recruitment board with recruitments, but we weren't able to secure any recruits. Mostly because, again, we didn't know our audience. We didn't know our audience. Fantasy Star Online 2 is a very unlike Black Desert Online is very anime oriented. I mean, like look at my character. She looks like an anime protagonist. Of course, what are you gonna end up getting, right, guys? So, so eventually I had to like say, okay, we need to do something about this because no, we could recruit all the people, and like we're supposed to be aiming for like a 10% response rate for like conversion rate from sending all of these recruitment messages, but no one's gonna flip and join if the name is pretty damn repulsive. So I decided to suggest, okay, we might as well just rebrand our little group of merry friends and call it Rappy Logistics because hey, look, uh, we're gonna take the game's mascot, which is like some sort of tiny little bird, and just say that we're a shipping company, and it kind of stuck. Even though I know it's my way of a meme from another game, but whatever. And because of that, we soon got like more people joining after we sent like a flood of recruitment messages. So I guess in term that like if you think about it, your guild name is pretty much your brand name. Like here's like a short TLDR of it. Your guild name is pretty much your brand name. If you don't brand it right, especially if you have again, if you have no idea what you're trying to do with your group, well, you're probably in for like very slow growth. So I guess the TLDR lessons of this is one, you need to know what you're gonna end up doing with your little band of friends. Because if you don't have a clear vision, everything else is kinda to naught unless, well, unless you do decide to change what your plans are later. And I just got smacked by a dragon here. Cool job, me. And then, second of all, you wanna. Second of all, you kind of want to like. Second of all, you kind of need to know your audience for what kind of people you want to like recruit. So I guess the first thing is, all right, what kind of people do I want in my group? How do I recruit these kinds of people, as well as know what the current consensus, know what kind of audience you kind of want to draw into it. So it kind of plays off into each other. So for example, PvP guild, yeah, and oh, I'm dying. Hold on. First is knowing PvP people. Well, okay. As well as knowing, okay. Oof, dead. Knowing what kind of people you want to play with, and as well as know what kind of people you want to play with, what kind of group you're going to end up doing. I mean, like, our group was pretty much like, player versus whatever. So it didn't really matter what kind of people we end up playing against, or with, or whatever. Because we were very flexible in what we wanted to do. Oh, I died. I was so distracted too. And then finally, even after all of that is said and done, recruitment is pretty much like human resources. It's like hiring people for your job. And you really have to, no matter what you're gonna end up doing, you really have to put your name out there. So we should have just kept on sending recruits no matter what. And and just put your name out there because that's really how it is. Like, no matter what you're gonna end up doing in life, you have to put your name out there. You have to showcase what you're pretty much made of, and well, if people want to join, there's no point of like, wow, there's really no point of there's really no point of doing other things here unless you know what you want to do. And I think that's pretty much it. So you're gonna keep watching me die to a very big giant crystal dragon, and I'm gonna cry for a bit. Anyway, I'm gonna call this in so I can just focus on shooting this dragon. Have a great day. Oh god.